3 days on, what's the overriding feeling in the squad?
Confident. 100% confident. There's been a lot of talk about the performances. People can also, have their opinions, but we know within the camp, within ourselves, our objective was to get out of the group. We're top of the group. It's my third tournament now. It's gone the exact same way the last two tournaments as well. So hopefully we can go out on a high in our third group game, finish top, and then we look forward into the knockout rounds. But I think the key word's confident.
What's the one quality this group they need first?
I think mentality. I think that's the main one, because now you're not coming up against teams, who are poor teams. Every game is a tough game, and your mentality needs to be spot on from minute 1 to minute 90, and you need to be fully focused and ready to put yourself to war, really, and especially in these games, in these European tournaments. So I'll definitely say mentality. Yes
or no? Are the players physically fit enough to carry out the game plan the manager wants?
Yes, of course. Of course we are.
It's been questioned.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let them keep questioning it. Honestly, we're built to play these type of seasons. Because we're sitting in a low block, people automatically assume that we're tired and that we're leggy, or that we're not fit enough to run around. If we weren't fit enough, well, then we shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be football players if we can't compete for 90 minutes. So yeah, we are fit enough.
In a word, how do you sum up the Denmark game?
In a word, it's tough. You can say poor, just because of the way that the game played out. I think, again, there were spells where we played really well, like we did in the Serbia game, but then also spells where we were outplayed, outnumbered. They won second balls. Probably felt like they had a bit more threat on us than we had on them. So yeah, I would probably say from the feeling that I had from within myself and my standards, I would say poor.
At the end of the game, did you see some criticism coming?
To me or to the team?
Both.
Yeah, 100%. I think you could sense it, you could hear it with the crowd, rightly so. For my performance, thought first game played really well. Second game, I know when I have a bad game now, wasn't my best game by all means at all, and I hold my hand up to that. But criticism aimed at me, to be honest with you, I don't really care. And that's the God's honest truth. People can say stuff, whatever they want, is what it is.
What about the criticism aimed at the manager? He's been getting intense criticism.
Yeah. It's the most scrutinised job in football, I think, the England job. I think every single manager's had it. Look, we know as a group of players how good Gareth is with us, internally, on the training pitch. And I've always said it, we're the ones that have to go on the pitch and play and perform. He's not the one putting the boots on, going out there and playing. He's picking what he thinks is his best 11, and it's down to the players to go out there and put in performances.
No tactical plan, players in the wrong positions, players underperforming, players not bringing their club form to the national team. That's what's been coming the manager's way.
Yeah, again, look, it's coming from pundits who have been in our shoes. There's a lot of negativity around people, keep talking about different things. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're the ones that have to go out there and play and perform. And we know ourselves that the standards haven't been good enough. We know ourselves that if you look at the squad, actually, everyone's actually had such good seasons individually. So probably that comment could be right. But in the first game against Serbia, I thought the performance was very good in the first half. Didn't get spoken about enough, how we dominated the game completely. Second half was obviously a bit more open. And then obviously the other night wasn't as good. But the good thing is about football, we've got a great chance to rectify that. And on Tuesday, when we play, this is what we're aiming for.
Are you disappointed that a lot of the criticism has been coming from former players who've been at tournaments and maybe been through the same thing?
No, I'm not disappointed, because look, I've played football long enough now. I know how they work. That's why I really do not get bothered about it at all. And look, they're entitled to their opinion. They're on the TV. They're saying whatever they want. I know some of them personally. They're great guys, but like I said, they've been in our shoes as well. And sometimes just to have that thought of process, you know, just before they speak, that, you know, they have been where I'm sat and where our other players have sat and not done well at tournaments. So look, I don't know why we feel like it's such a negative thing. Like we're talking like we're going out of a tournament here. You know, we're top of the group. You know, we need to stay positive, stay upbeat. Let's have some positivity going into games. Let's give players, you know, the best confidence in the world. Your players like your Phil Fodens, your Sakas, your Jude Bellinghams. Tell them they're the best players in the world. Make them read that and think, I'm going to go out there and perform and give it absolutely everything, rather than reading a negative comment sitting on their mind and then thinking that they can't play a certain way. That's the way I think about it. And I'm sure we have enough of them people as well, which is good.
Last one on this. What would you say to those questioning the tactical ability of the manager?
Look, they can question it. I think in our low block, tactically, we've been unbelievable. I think defensively, we've conceded the least shots on goal, I've read, or something like that. Or Steve Holland was saying something about that. We've got the best defensive record here at the minute in terms of like stopping crosses, defending balls into the box, being compact and solid. But it's about doing that higher up the pitch, and that's what I've played in with England for such a long time. So I get why people are obviously talking about us being tactically off it. There have been a few tweaks and stuff in training that we've been working on, and it's felt and feeling so much better. And I'm sure you're going to see that in the game as well.
What's the one thing you're confident will be better?
I think the one thing everyone's talking about is our high press and talking about us off the ball. I think you're going to see a team that is more front foot, is more in your face, is not going to let an opposition team play with the ball as much. And we're going to prove to people we do have that side to our game.
After the Denmark game, Gareth said, the players almost care too much.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think we care a lot. I think we're a young squad. We're so hungry and desperate to do something special for this country. You see fans back home gathering in there, hundreds of thousands, you know. It's the talk of the town. You know, we're the ones that are having the privilege to go out, put on that England kit, sing the national anthem. It's the best feeling in the world, and sometimes you can put too much pressure on yourself to want to succeed. I feel like it will just come naturally. You know, we've been close at World Cups and the last Euros. We just need to get back to that. You know, so we just need to get back to relaxing and just feeling like we can go out there and play our stuff.
Have you felt the weight of the shirt this tournament?
Not at all.
Not more than?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I think I felt it probably in my first ever major tournament, but I've played that many football matches now that, you know, I go out there and look, like I said, I know when I play well and I know when I don't play well, and I can hold my head up high and say the other night I wasn't at my usual standards, and I think a lot of the other players can say that as well. But it's about now that mental side of your game where you're going to frown upon it and hide, or are you going to, you know, roll your sleeves up and say, let's have it and let's go again. And I think you'll see that in the next game.
Let's have it.
I think that's the word, let's have it.
Gareth said after the last game, if we hadn't had Declan Rice for the last few years, I don't know where we'd have been. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's obviously it's unreal comments to hear. Obviously, as a player, it gives you so much confidence. Like Gareth said, obviously, other than me and Calvin Phillips, who've played in the sixth position, Hendo a bit. You know, it's been mainly me since I broke into the squad, and you know, it's never a given that you get into an England squad. You need to perform well week in, week out for your club, perform consistently, and I've done that. You know, since I stepped into the Premier League, and I never take this moment for granted that when you get called up for England, you know, it's the biggest honour you can possibly have.
What's the one thing England need in that midfield area?
Well, it's a tough one really, because when we played against Iceland and we lost 1-0 at home, obviously we played me and Cobby together, and I think for the goal we was both pressing man to man onto their midfielders, and people were calling for stability and calling for for telling me to sit in a way, because we got caught out, you know, pressing high. And then against Serbia, we kind of sit lower, win 1-0, get a clean sheet. People still complain. So it's like, as a midfield, as a free or whoever's going to play in there, it's just about getting that stability right. You know, I'm happy, more than happy to sit. I tell the attackers all the time, I'll sit and you lot go and flourish and do your stuff and I'll do all the dirty work. I don't mind doing that because we have the best players in the world in front of me. It's just about finding that balance when you're coming up against opposition and seeing how other teams work. I think that's the main thing.
What do you say to those saying, how can you go into a tournament experimenting in midfield?
It's funny because people are calling for Trent to play midfield. Half the country are calling for Trent to play in midfield, and then you play him in midfield and then you want to bring him down. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I'll defend all of my boys till the day I never put on an England shirt. Trent is one of the best players I've ever seen, and don't call for someone to play in a position and then backtrack all because you think he's had a bad game or something. I'll tell you now, Trent can play in midfield. I've seen it at England, I've seen it for Liverpool. He's unbelievable. So yeah, that's what I say to the people that obviously they say them type of stuff.
Is there the right profile of player in this squad to get control in the midfield?
Yeah, I think there 100% is. Again, it gets overlooked. If you look at the first half against Serbia, we played in their half the whole game. We built up from the back, got into their half, dominated the ball, had so many touches of the ball, and then because of the second half performance where we kind of dropped off, probably didn't have as much as the ball, the narrative is that England have no control. And then all of a sudden you play against Denmark, you start well, first probably 10-15, have a lot of the ball, go 1-0 up, you sit back, don't get the press as right, they obviously start passing the ball around, and then again, the narrative is England don't have any control. We have players who can play. You know, we've got players at the back who are ball playing centre-backs and full-backs. You know, you've got me now, at Arsenal, the way Mikel wants to play. I totally understand the way he wants to play. You've got Jude, you've got Phil, you've got B, you've got H. Now, we can play any type of football. Like I said, it's just about going out there and doing it. But obviously, teams and fans, you know, they want us on the front foot constantly, and this is tournament football. It can't always be that way. Is
anything like playing for England at a tournament?
No, you can't compare this feeling. This is like, yeah, this is, honestly, like I get to live and experience it. Like you're in your hotel room, like the night before the game, day of the game, the last hour before you leave, you've got your music on and you're arriving at the game, you're seeing England fans, passionate, singing, you hear it's coming home, obviously coming on, which is always like a tradition at tournaments. Just the feeling you get as a player, it gives you that fire in your belly to go out there and say, bring it on.
Does this team just need a spark, a moment?
Definitely. I think if you look at teams that have won major tournaments in the past, your Spain's, Argentina obviously won the World Cup, Portugal won the Euros. They've all lost, well, Spain lost their first group game, I think in the Euros when they won it. Argentina lost their first game at the World Cup. Portugal won the tournament on 3 draws. So if you look in the grand scheme of things, it's 1 win, 1 draw, a good performance and a not a good performance. And now there's a chance to have a performance where we can put them 2 behind us and go into the knockouts with full confidence and belief, and the spark will be there.
What's your message to those doubting the team, doubting the manager?
To get behind us. You know, we're so desperate to do it for all of you guys, and you know, we're so desperate to bring happiness and joy to the country, like you wouldn't believe. It's our dream to achieve something for England, and you know, of course, everyone's entitled to your opinion on what you think about the game, what you think about certain individuals, but positivity, be positive, be confident, and you know, give players love, because our attacking players, when they feel that love, they're unstoppable.
Will England get all these individual talents to add up in time?
In this tournament? Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing it more and more every day. I think the training, again, from where we'd been in terms of finishing the Premier League, having a few days off, getting back together, the level has only gone like that since we've got back together. You can see the players in training, flourishing, connecting, playing 1-2s, shots, goals, creativity, doing things that are like just out of this world. And obviously now it's about doing that on the big stage. A lot of these games we've been watching are back to front, back to front, back to front, and I feel like a lot of fans obviously want to see that game from England. And of course, it'd be fun and exciting to play in that game, but sometimes you have to be logical about it as well and be a bit more savvy with your approach.
Ready?
100%. I'm ready to go again, and that's the beauty of football. You know, you have one bad performance, a few days later you have a chance again to do it all again and put the last two behind you. So yeah, we're ready and we're confident.